What's up? I'm not sure if I'm live yet or not. Trying new things here. It says I might be, so I think we're good. Hello. I'm gonna get my phone so I can monitor if people are chatting, but I think I might get chat in here. Try a new program again, so um, you know how these things are. Uh, Anyways, welcome to the stream. If you can see me, I'm excited to be here, and I love that I'm streaming again. So that's very cool. I miss this. I miss talking with people. I miss being able to interact and to test these videos, basically as test these recipes with you all in the live and while we're doing it together. So today's recipe is a jalapeno cheesesteak, which I'm very jalapeno popper cheesesteak, which I'm very excited about. Just making sure we're good here. Oh yeah, it says, yeah, I see it here. What's up, chat? Here, 5 a.m. my time. Jalapeno popper cheesesteaks. Hello, hello, welcome. All right, how about the audio volume? And this is ridiculous because normally I would get chat on my screen, and now I had to get my YouTube app going. So as long as I can see the chat, we're good. We're good. And if you can hear me, well, let me know. This is awesome. This is awesome. Great, great. So the only thing I did before we started here is I got some onions cooking. And I do have at least I have this, right? There we go. These onions are getting going because, in my opinion, you can't have a good cheesesteak without some caramelized onions. And they're almost there, but I want to get them going a little bit more. So those are going to cook, and then what I also, if you've gotten anything from my tips over the years, is if you're going to make cheesesteaks, you have to go to H Mart or other similar stores where they cut the meat for shabu shabu, basically, where it's like hot pot where you dip the meat to cook it. This is the best texture and thickness for any cheesesteak by a mile. Otherwise, if you get the cheesesteak meat at the grocery store, in my opinion, it's too thin. It just kind of falls apart as you're cooking. Volume is great. Could be higher, of course, Rich. Of course, Rich. Oh yes. Let's see. I think I can actually turn it up a little, but maybe I shouldn't play with that right now. So yeah, let me know if you have an H Mart near you or if you've gotten this kind of meat to make cheesesteaks before. Now, I also have my nice Publix bread here, new to the South, new to Publix, and will not use any other bread except that for a cheesesteak. But the first thing we're gonna do, because I said this is a jalapeno popper cheesesteak, is I have to cook the jalapenos. So I have the broiler on, but we're just going to basically roast these jalapenos under the broiler for a few minutes per side. And I just want to get some charring on them. And then I'm going to peel them and use them in the sandwich. Oh, you have a Publix in Colorado too? Yeah, that's cool. Like I said, I'm new to Publix, and I really like it as a grocery store. But I had to do the H Mart and the Publix run for all the stuff I'm doing today. It's also funny, like I feel like my kitchen is a little green in this video, but that's fine. I will have to adjust some of the hue and saturation for next time. So I'm just putting those under the broiler, and my biggest thing with the broiler is I always burn everything, but that's okay. We're here, we're live, and I think I won't burn it down because you guys might remind me. All right, this is great. This is great. So yeah, the jalapenos are definitely the first step. So let's think about a cheesesteak and, let me switch this. There we go. Let's think about a cheesesteak and a jalapeno popper. We have in a popper, sometimes use bacon. I'm not doing bacon. We have the steak for our main meat of this, right? You have usually some cream cheese, but some people just do cheese. In a cheesesteak, you would probably do either American cheese, provolone, cheese whiz, which I do have cheese whiz, but in my opinion, the cream cheese is going to replace the cheese whiz in this sandwich. So I'm going to put cream cheese all throughout. And then a jalapeno popper is typically fried, I guess. You could bake them. And one thing I saw recently is someone make a hot dog and they put cheese on top of the hot dog and then just like put it down upside down in the pan. So I was thinking of doing something along those lines with this cheesesteak so that we get like a crispy cheese layer on top that kind of gives you like the fried feel of things. Oh, at H Mart in Colorado. Sorry, the heart and the chat was blocking the actual store. Yeah, I've been to like every grocery store, so love a lot of those grocery stores. I have a lot of opinions about all the different grocery stores. What you can get at each different one as well. I left my earpiece in so I could monitor the stream, but I can't hear it, so we're going live. We're going live. Jalapenos are going. I'm gonna turn this pan on just to like this. My little pan thing is not like the most powerful, so it needs to preheat for a little bit. And yeah, we're gonna keep going. So let's see. I'll get the switch this. I'm gonna prepare some of this bread, and this is only like 0.8 pounds of steak. So like I'm gonna cut this to probably only like this big for the sandwich, because when you're making a cheesesteak, in my opinion, you want it to be like super full. And if you've bought a cheesesteak recently at a decent place, you would notice it's probably like super expensive now because steak costs a lot of money, so it should be expensive. And if it's good, they're gonna fill it up. And if you bought one and oh, hey, Laura, yes. Oh yeah, you work, I noticed you worked, back in the day at least, you were working at a college making a lot of cheesesteaks, which is great. So my stove back here is gas, but my electric stovetop here that I use for my cooking videos. Blurry bread. I know. Why is my camera not? There we go. Like, it's just weird. This bread does kind of have a blurry look anyways. So yeah, like I said, I'm gonna cut this like, because you want it to be, we want this to be like a very full looking sandwich for our 3/4 pound of steak here. Yeah, I don't know. This camera is usually pretty good at focusing, but yeah, you know it's so funny. Like I used to do these streams all the time, and I feel like I never, no matter what, something is like wrong, right? Like the audio's messed up, the video's messed up. Today I tested this whole thing with like these two cameras I have, and then when I got set up and ready to go, one of the cameras just kept freezing. So I had to pivot and put my whole computer onto like this big stand back here to use that camera and switch all my camera stuff. It's really is crazy how no matter what, when you're streaming, it's always like some adventure. Right, so I'm gonna just pull out, I don't wanna pull out too much bread. Master of improv, yes. I don't wanna pull out too much bread here, but I am gonna pull a little bit out so that we end up with like a nice meat to bread ratio. And this bread does smell really good. Again, Publix bread is pretty good. Streamers say we move. Yes. Oh. Oh, that's perfect. Perfect. JMB, thank you. Let's see how these. Okay, now I'm gonna get this guy, and we're coming along with the jalapenos here. You see it? Yeah. We're getting some nice char. So I'm gonna flip them and let the other side get charred up as well. There we go. There we go. And that's gonna be another 3 to 5 minutes in there while the other side chars. And then the best thing to do when you're using jalapenos like that is you cover them with some plastic wrap in a bowl, and the steam from themselves is going to basically like help the skin peel as they sit in the bowl. Then we'll be able to peel them easily. Now, when I'm making this cheesesteak, my thought is a jalapeno popper is encased in the jalapeno, right? So my thought is I want to like have a nice layer of jalapeno. I went back and forth. Should I mix the jalapeno in or should I layer it? I think I'm gonna do a layer so that when you're looking at the cheesesteak, you're like, okay, like the cheesesteak is in the jalapeno and then it's in the bread, right? So again, we're getting there with the onions. Pan's heating up. I do have my thermometer here. This thing is like, I've had this thing since like basically I started my blog, and I use tape to hold it together, but it's a great digital thermometer sorry, almost lost this. It's a great, what do you call it? Infrared thermometer that can read a surface temperature and let me know when it's ready to cook. Because my thing is like I'm very hands-on, and I would just start sticking my hand in the pan to see if it's like ready to cook. Not the best idea, honestly, but my fingertips have become pretty resilient over the years from it. So I'm just grabbing some cheese out here. Like I said, I'm gonna do some American and provolone, and then the cream cheese is basically replacing the cheese whiz. I have the cream cheese here, and the onions are getting there. So Wednesday, middle of the week, how are people doing? Gina is calling in from New York on a work trip, which is awesome. And I'm just here by myself with Frida. Thankfully, she's resting today. But yeah, did people have Monday off? Is it a short week for everyone? Let me know. The jalapenos are almost there, so I'm gonna prepare my bowl. Could you take the cream cheese filled fried jalapenos and half them on the cheesesteak? So yes, I actually considered like literally making fried like jalapeno poppers and just like throwing them in the sandwich, right? And that would also give you like a nice cross section. But then I was like, okay, this might be like a little almost like over the top, or like a college eats sort of like you would get at a college food truck or something. So I was like, I want to make it a little more like manageable. New York City, yes. Oh yeah, every time we get off our Catan call, Alex, Georgina is like, did you ask this? Did you ask this? And I'm like, no, Rich asked all that stuff. Oh yeah, cold. Was that outside of Tokyo? Very cool. Oh yeah, you said it's 5 a.m. there earlier? All right. I still don't understand what the focus is going on this camera. All right, perfect. So we're charred up. I'm gonna drop them in there. And then I'm covering this so that they can quickly steam themselves, and then the peeling process will be very easy. And you can see the steam immediately fogging up the plastic wrap there. Yeah, I know, Rich. So one thing is like I'm using a new streaming software here, and it's a lot more like you have to do everything instead of it coming like plug and play. So I'm realizing some of the stuff I have to do is really just like getting a plug-in, get a plug-in for this, get a plug-in for that. The camera, I mean, I use it in our Catan games and for Zoom calls, and it generally it generally focuses fine then. Rich, I wasn't gonna like, so did you hear what I was saying earlier about like the cheese crust that I'm doing? Typically, I like a cheesesteak to have softer bread. I usually wouldn't, like, there's gonna be some toasting going on in the pan while I'm cooking, but there's not gonna be, yeah, I'm on OBS. That's what I'm using now. And when I was streaming like in 2020, I was using more of like a Streamlabs half OBS setup. But I want to stream simultaneously on Instagram and maybe TikTok and YouTube, and all that Streamlabs and Restream and like, what is it? All the stuff that used to be free now costs like $30 to $50 a month. It's kind of insane. Yes, I am OBSing. So yeah, I don't understand why the free stuff now costs a lot of money. I guess because streamers are making a shit ton of money on these softwares, so it makes sense that they would want to charge. But I'm like, this, they advertise their price in weekly, like $10 weekly. Like, usually you put monthly. I don't know why you're telling me weekly prices. That's kind of crazy. Anyways, so this is hot, and I'm gonna start, let's see. I wanna start peeling the jalapenos, but I think that it's a little premature. They're not gonna be ready to go. So what I'm gonna do actually is, that was blurry, this is probably even more. I'm gonna cook the steak here. Just get it going. Yeah, it's funny. This is supposed to be like the close-up, high-quality camera, and it looks blurry. So blurry. So when I'm doing cheesesteaks like this too, it's good to have two things. Actually, you know what? use one metal and one wooden, and you kind of have to like, you donkey. Cut a steak. It's a ribeye, a thin slice. That's the other benefit of going to H Mart. They literally have like these thin slices in every single cut of meat that you could ask for. Sometimes I'll do ribeye and throw a little slice of brisket in there to add the fat level, like bring up the fat level. If you're buying that grocery store shaved steak, it's like so thin and you have no idea what cut of meat it is. Now here's the next audio question. In regards to my voice, sometimes this kind of noise is like crazy loud. Is that the case for you guys? Or is it like somewhat balanced at least? Yeah, it's usually specifically for shabu shabu, but you can buy any cut. And this is, I actually, they sometimes have it in other, like they'll have pork belly, you can do chicken sliced like this. Once I found duck, but they don't usually have it anymore, but, because I've been looking every time I go, because I have a duck cheesesteak recipe that I've been wanting to recreate. Sizzle is higher than you. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Touch louder, yeah. Yeah, we'll see. Like, we'll get there. I also bought all these sound canceling panels that I just slapped around the room. Um, so let's turn that a little there. And I'm going to get some of these going. I also think with the, what was I going to say, with the bread? Oh, with the meat. Like, it's good to get that super sear on it, but it's also good for it to like simmer a little bit in a way because now you're rendering the fat, and some of those bigger pieces of fat are gonna cook off just a little bit and end up being a little better in terms of like when you're chewing it, a better mouth feel for you. So this is peeling like decently. Could be peeling better if I had like cooked it on all sides a little more, but I was a little anxious to keep going on the video. But the parts that are charred are coming right off, so it's nice. And then I'm gonna like cut the bottom and the top off, and then I'm gonna cut, where are we going here? Cut it like this and take some of the insides out. Because not only the insides, no, thanks for the reminder. I would have burnt by now, but these were what were in the oven. That's the other thing I need to fix is like putting the comments on the screen. But you know what? I personally, it's important to me to get going sometimes. And I say this to people a lot of times when like people are asking like how do you start blogging or whatnot. My answer is like, how do you start is start. Don't wait to be perfect. Don't wait to be ready. Don't wait at all. It's gonna be shitty and weird for a while, but you're gonna get better, and you have to get better only by doing it. If you wait until you're ready, then you'll never start because you're never gonna be ready. You're always gonna be getting better. So next time, we'll have less blurry peppers, and it's gonna be a huge win when that happens because I will have had something to get better from instead of starting that way. So that's important to me. So that being said, thank you guys all for definitely being here during the ups and downs. I love that. Yeah, these peppers are peeling just fine. And the steak It's looking pretty good, almost done. And all I need is like 3 or 4 peppers, because again, we're gonna just line the bread with the peppers. Yeah, I mean, we've all been there, JMB, waiting for things to be right, waiting to get it right, waiting to get going. I'm reading The Artist's Way right now, which can be like corny and can definitely be like a privileged kind of take on being an artist. But there is a lot of insight about like just, just not being in your own way, like letting the inner critic kind of die. Or not die, but like hear it, but know that it's like, it's not real, and just move on from it, and that's what I've been taking a lot away from it personally. All right, let's see here. My fingers are gonna be burning hot for the rest of the day. I have to keep that in mind when I scratch my nose. But we're almost good here on the jalapenos. This last one should be good. And now what I'm gonna do here, because the steak, let me stir this. Oh yeah. So now we're getting like some good browning on here in certain places. And I'll show you, I'll move the camera to that in a minute, because the camera is going to be left on that for the whole rest of the recipe. All right, perfect. Now let me show one of these a little better. There we go. All right, I'm going to wash my hands, and then we're going to keep it moving. Great. Now let me see about a light, because that is not great. All right. That's better, right? We're good? Is that better? All right, so you can see there's like some nice char going on the steak. Looks really good. Now, all right, now I'm going to, the rest has to happen kind of like all simultaneously and quick. So that's why I'm like trying to think about it in my head. But I'm gonna put some onions in first. That's probably good. And then the inside of the cheesesteak is gonna be American and cream cheese for the popper sort of elements. And then the top, I'm gonna try to get some like crispy provolone on top. So to me, I'm just gonna put the cheese right in there, right? Now it's like a little too bright, but that's okay. I think we need, I'll put some more provolone in there too. Pre-caramelized, Rich, you failed that test question too. That was the one thing I did before I started the video, was start the onions going, or else I would have just been standing here for 45 minutes waiting for the onions to finish. Rich, I told you, just wait. The more provolone's coming, don't worry. And the cream cheese is gonna go a long way in terms of like making it taste cheesy. So I was like kind of weird about Cheese Whiz for a long time. I didn't understand why like it was a good idea in a cheesesteak, until I realized what the Cheese Whiz is really doing is like helping the other cheeses form a sauce that goes throughout all the meats. So you're taking a bite and like there's cheese everywhere. And that's what the cream cheese is kind of doing versus the Cheese Whiz in this version of the sandwich. So I'm also just like scraping this a little bit so that any stuck or burnt cheeses is like getting in the mix, right? All right, now here's what's gonna happen. Folding this all together so that the cheese is throughout. Rich is having a cheesesteak rant in the comments and you'd love to see it. I agree though. Hate places. Love this. Yeah, I mean, I get it though. You're all excited for your cheesesteak and then garbage. All right, so let's see here. Oh wait, I missed the whole part. Okay, hold on. All right, here's what's gonna happen real quick. This is wild. All right, now I'm gonna take 2 pieces of provolone and just like put them right there. Now I'm gonna put the cheesesteak meat back, and now this is where the jalapenos were gonna go. Okay. So now what's happening is we have that jalapeno layer around the outside of the bread, and we have the provolone that's getting crispy on the bottom of the pan. And just so everyone knows, Frida has woken up, and she's standing right here, waiting and hoping and wishing. Frida, come here. Come here. No, she's not going to play for the camera. Sorry. Okay, now I see that some of the browning is happening. There she is. Can you see her? Just hoping. Okay, look at the. That's great. That's great. That's what we were hoping for. The brown cheese. Now, how do you eat this? One might ask. One being me. I love this. Brought it close to my mic to see if that would help. Let's switch back over here a little bit. Do. Great. Wow, that's bright white. Sorry about that. This is very messy looking. I don't like it. What does this say? There's always extra salt and pepper. Salt and pepper. Yeah, I did add salt right when I put the steak in the pan, and I heavily salted the onions as well. And there's so much cheese that it's adding a lot of salt too. All right. This is killing me that it's blurry like this. This is also not the prettiest sandwich I've ever made, that's for sure. Free to watch out. That's not the right. That's not the right. Here we go. Oh, here's my other tip I was going to tell you all. And it's already kind of late for this, but I always wrap a burrito in foil and a sandwich in paper. Like, there's a reason that stores do this, and it's because it makes it better. So it's really like gonna seal in a lot of the goodness. And for me, I'm taking a picture of it, right? Because that's my job. So like, it's also gonna help me a lot with the photo. is 9 viewers the amount that MSNBC gets? Is that their is that their broadcast, like their actual broadcast, or their live videos? All right. Now, this is killing me because it's not in focus, but where is the focus? Right there? That close? All right, we got to work on the lighting here a little bit and the focus, but this looks great. Now, this is like the burnt cheese area zone, right? And then this is what I wanted, the jalapeno to be around the edges, encasing the steak sandwich in. So back to the paper. So yeah, I'm happy with how this came out, but I need to like workshop it a little bit for the blog post, that's for sure, because it has to look better. So that's amazing. I'm a guy who puts banana peppers in a cheesesteak because I think the like acidity and pickledness, just a little bit in there, helps so much balance the heavy onions and stuff. But the charred, blackened, roasted jalapenos in this is like doing such a good job at giving this a different feel. It's incredible. It really is. Crying in a salad. Rich, this is why I was telling you it's okay that you eat so many eggs because you have a lot of salads. Meanwhile, I eat this for lunch and then I have to have granola for breakfast or a smoothie. All right. So, hear me out. Rich, did you watch this stream at all? I addressed the bacon, but for people who weren't here at that time or weren't paying attention, I considered bacon, but I'm like a bacon hater, honestly. I will say Sorry, just catching up with the comments here. Yeah, I told you my egg. So I'm not gonna say I hate bacon. I love bacon, but I just think it's like the most overrated thing in American cuisine. It's delicious, but it doesn't need to be on everything. And I think bacon specifically ruins certain things, like a burger. A perfect burger, a piece of bacon makes a perfect burger worse. This is a phenomenal sandwich, and the steak is taking the place that bacon would take in a jalapeno popper. So that's my opinion on bacon and if it should go in the sandwich or not. I also considered adding like toasted buttery breadcrumbs to the top to give us the popper vibe, right? But that's why I did that crispy cheese on top, because I thought the crispy cheese was gonna kind of replace that. I just don't understand how you can make the crispy cheese and then not fold the crispy cheese to make it look better. Agree to disagree. Thank you for understanding my position. Hot take. Yep. All right. So, anyways, I'm about wrapping up here. What time is it? 3:41. We did good time today. It was a fairly easy recipe, so I try to aim for 45 minutes to an hour and 15 on these streams. I'm going to be streaming twice a month, every other week. I'm not sure if it's going to continue on Wednesdays. I'm not sure if it's going to continue a pattern from right now, every other week, or what. But the goal is 2 streams a month. And each time I will be getting better at second camera, lighting, audio, etc. So thank you all so much for tuning in to my first stream back. It was a lot of fun. And as disheveled and scattered as I feel sometimes, that is how you get better at doing things, when you pressure yourself. 7 days a week. Oh, 2 eggs a day, 7 days a week. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, love to see the side chatting and love to, hang with you guys. So I will make sure to update on my Instagram story at least 24 hours before I go live, and I will put the placeholder up also 24 hours. Maybe Wednesday afternoon, maybe Thursday afternoon. We'll see, but it'll be in 2 weeks, and I'm excited to see you all there. So thank you so much. See you next.